The new neighbors. Nobody in apartment 4B knew where the Vale family had come from. They arrived on a Tuesday, quietly, with no moving truck, no boxes, no noise. By Wednesday morning, 2 small children were sitting on the hallway floor outside their door, looking lost. Tom Briggs noticed them on his way to the kitchen. He was 53 years old, recently retired, a former short-order cook who now spent his mornings making elaborate breakfasts for no one in particular. He had a round face, a gray beard, and the particular gentleness of a man who had outlived his loneliness by feeding people. The 2 children looked up at him with enormous silver eyes. They were small, maybe 6 and 8 years old by human estimation. Their skin was a soft pale violet. Their ears came to slight points. They wore simple gray clothing and sat perfectly still, with the quiet dignity of children trying very hard not to appear frightened. Tom stopped. "You kids eat yet?" he asked. They stared at him. He pointed to his apartment door, then to his mouth, then made an exaggerated eating gesture. The smaller one, a girl, nodded solemnly. "Right," said Tom. "Come on then." Egg fried rice and silver eyes. He made them egg fried rice because it was fast, warm, and impossible to dislike. The 2 children sat at his kitchen counter on bar stools, feet dangling, watching him cook with the focused intensity of scientists observing a new phenomenon. Every time something sizzled, the smaller one flinched. Every time Tom tossed the pan, both of them leaned forward in pure amazement. He set 2 bowls in front of them. They looked at the bowls, then at him, then at each other. The older one, a boy, picked up the fork with 3 fingers, studied it, then scooped a careful bite. He chewed slowly. His silver eyes went wide. The girl did not bother being careful. She ate with tremendous speed and dedication. Tom leaned against the counter and drank his coffee, satisfied in the way only cooks understand, the quiet pride of watching someone eat your food like it matters. "I'm Tom," he said, pointing to himself. The boy pointed to himself. "Ren." The girl, mouth full, pointed to herself. "Mavi." "Good names," said Tom. "You're welcome here anytime." They came back the next morning, and the morning after that. Daily ritual. Within 2 weeks, it was simply a fact of life in apartment 4B. Every morning at 7:30, Ren and Mavi knocked twice, always twice, on Tom's door. Tom, who had already been up for an hour, always had something ready. Omelets with herbs. Warm flatbread with olive oil. Thick vegetable soup that Mavi inhaled with both hands wrapped around the bowl. He learned their preferences through trial and observation, the way he'd always cooked, watching faces, adjusting, remembering. Ren didn't like anything too sweet. Mavi would eat anything but disliked cold food intensely. Both of them loved eggs, loved bread, loved anything that came out of the oven warm. Their mother he barely saw, a tall, still woman who nodded at him once in the hallway with an expression he couldn't quite read. Gracious, he thought. Tired, maybe? She was always dressed in dark, simple clothing and moved with a quietness that felt deliberate. He assumed she worked long hours. He left a covered plate outside 4C's door one evening, without explanation. Lamb stew, bread on the side. In the morning it was gone, and a single small purple flower had been placed on top of the empty dish. Tom put it in a glass of water on his windowsill. The visit. On a Thursday morning in October, Tom opened his door at 7:30 and found not just Ren and Mavi, but their mother. She stood slightly behind the children, hands folded. In the morning hallway light, Tom noticed for the first time that her eyes weren't just dark, they were deep, like looking into something that went further back than it should. "Mr. Briggs," she said. Her voice was low and precise. "I am SciFi. I owe you a conversation I have delayed too long. Tom stepped back. You want coffee? She paused, and something in her expression shifted, like the question had genuinely surprised her. Yes, she said. I would like that. He made coffee. She sat at his counter in the same spot Rent always used, and wrapped both hands around the mug the way Mavi always did with her soup bowl. Tom noticed this and said nothing. You have fed my children every day for 6 weeks, she said. Without being asked. Without expectation. They were hungry, Tom said simply. Seraphel looked at him for a long moment. I must tell you something about who we are. The truth, she told him plainly, without drama, the way someone delivers a fact they have carried too long. She was the sovereign of the Veil Dominion, a governing body that held authority over 31 inhabited star systems. She had come to Earth not as a ruler, but as a mother, seeking a quiet place to raise her children outside the weight of empire, away from courts and politics, and the particular loneliness of absolute power. She had chosen this building, this hallway, this unremarkable apartment. She had not anticipated Tom Briggs. Tom was quiet for a moment. He looked at his coffee mug. The kids still like eggs? He asked. Seraphel blinked. It was the first time he had seen her expression break open into something unguarded. Yes, she said, and her voice was slightly unsteady. They talk about your eggs constantly. Then nothing changes, Tom said. 7:30. Not twice. She looked at him the way the children had looked at their first bowl of fried rice, with the wide, slightly overwhelmed expression of someone receiving something they hadn't known they needed. You are a remarkable man, Mr. Briggs, she said. Tom shrugged and refilled her coffee. I'm a cook, he said. This is just what we do. The windowsill. That evening, Tom noticed the purple flower on his windowsill had been joined by 2 more. He didn't mention it to anyone. He simply found a wider glass, filled it with fresh water, and set all 3 flowers in it together where the morning light would catch them. Then he went to bed early, so he'd be up in time to make breakfast.